and always online at learnerandrow.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Rock and Manooch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Rochester, Michigan, 45 minutes northwest of Detroit. Goalkeeper hits it in. Oh, my goodness. 21 for Jack Goldkey.
I've been doing this. I've been in basketball for 40-some years. I've never seen somebody 13 and a half all threes.
Oh, that was fun. Oakland over Kentucky. And the big news is John Calipari is finalizing a 5-year deal to be the next head basketball coach at Arkansas. A blockbuster move. It's going to shake up the SEC as well as the college basketball landscape. Joining us to talk about it as well as tonight's game, he's been joining us throughout the madness, CL Brown, a columnist from the Courier Journal, and he joins us down the right to a guest sign. CL, we briefly talked about this about a week or two when you came on, but I didn't think anything was going to happen, and sure enough, yesterday it hits. Were you surprised?
Extremely surprised. Not that you knew at the end of the season, with the way that Kentucky has flamed out the past 4 years in the tournament and not even making it in 21, that the fan base was restless. There was a disconnect with Calipari and the fan base, but still, like, Arkansas, as good of a job as it is, it's not the job I would have expected Calipari to leave Kentucky for.
Yeah, I know, but they're offering an arm and a leg.
Less than $8.5 million.
Yeah, really.
And NIL money up to $5 million?
Yeah. I mean, how can he really turn that down? Plus, he's boys with Jerry and with the Walmart family. The Waltons. He's got a lot of connections in that area with those people. I found it. Here's the interesting thing for me, CL, is that you knew after the AD came out and said, "Hey, look, John and I had a good lunch together, and we like where we're going." Remember, you came out with that statement, and then like 3 weeks later, it all blows up.
It's kind of incredible how it all happened. I mean, and they even did a little awkward sit-down local TV interview shortly after, just to kind of dispel rumors that there was a rift between them, which had been lingering, for a couple of years, that they didn't really talk anymore. And, and I don't even know what the root cause of it started with, but, there was always rumors out there that Calipari and Mitch Barnhart weren't on the same page with the program. So I guess this really solidifies that.
So you think you felt at that meeting that he might have encouraged him in Calipari to look elsewhere? That if somebody came down the pike and wanted to talk, hey, John, we'd be pretty good with that. You think that might have encouraged for him to look on, CL?
I think this was Calipari's call 100%. Like, I don't think Barnhart was gonna push him in any direction, especially because, as we talked, because of that buyout being so high. I think Kentucky was going to be content to have him for another year, and also not really knowing and not really thinking that there would be an opening worthy of Calipari, leaving for outside of the NBA, and the NBA doesn't want him. So, I wouldn't have thought out of college jobs. If anything, I probably would have thought more of USC being in LA, and an opportunity if they ponied up, a good sum, especially for NIL, that would be worth his challenge. Title at Arkansas, no doubt, and you can't. I'm not going to say you can't do it at USC. I still figured just that would seem more of an ego, in the limelight of LA, as opposed to going to Arkansas. I apologize to Arkansas fans. It's going to sound like I'm talking trash about Arkansas as a program, which I'm not. But you don't leave UK for Arkansas. You just don't do it.
Well, Eric Musselman had some success there, and then it started to wane, so he opted and left. Calipari is doing the same thing. What is so interesting to me is there are really no pro sports in the state of Kentucky, so Kentucky basketball is everything. And it's the same in Arkansas, CL. There are no pro sports there. So University of Arkansas football and basketball is everything. So it is, if you're John Calipari, it's still the same scenario.
It is very similar in their engagement, in their support, and their fanaticism. And they will have resources and money to throw at it. But it's still not Kentucky. Like, Arkansas was on major networks, ESPN, and a game on CBS a total 7 times this past season, because Arkansas basketball is not a national brand. Kentucky was on a total of 18 times just on ESPN and CBS. And I should say 2 of those games Arkansas played on national TV was against Kentucky. So the Kentucky brand attracts. And I know we're streaming and everything a lot now, but it still matters to be in front of as many eyeballs as you can be. It still matters to be on the major networks for basketball. And I think Calipari is going to find out, and I don't know if his ego and arrogance is so big to where he thinks just because he leaves, he's going to be the attraction. But it's not going to be the same. Kentucky basketball was big before he was there. It'll still be big after he leaves. And Arkansas will not be on Kentucky's level.
You CL Brown, columnist for the Courier Journal. You can follow him on Twitter at CL Brown Hoops. All right, so what's next at Kentucky? What is athletic director Mitch Barnhart going to do? We're hearing Nate Oates. We're hearing Coach Drew. We're hearing
Tommy Lloyd.
We're hearing Jay Wright, even Dan Hurley. Who's number one in the clubhouse from your point of view?
From my point of view, and this is just my opinion based on Mitch Barnhart's kind of background, I would think it'd be Scott Drew. He fits kind of a prototype as a person and as a coach of what, the character and everything that Mitch Barnhart would like in a coach. But since it's Kentucky, they're going to swing for the fences. They're going to make calls and make people say no. And I would imagine most of their calls will be accepted, like a Billy Donovan. Interest in coming back to coach college basketball,
3.
I think Jay Wright, as you said, you really want to be on TV. Don't you want to get a little bit, you still got a lot left in the tank. Don't you want to get back in this game?
See, I'm curious.
Kentucky can.
I'm curious. Would Kentucky go down a road that would be, something out of left field? Like, you talk about Drew, but what about Bryce Drew at Grand Canyon? Who's familiar with the SEC? Who, both these guys, like to stay at one place for a long time and big coaching family. Could be maybe a remote opportunity for a guy like a Bryce Drew, who's had a lot of success at a much smaller level, but even at Vanderbilt.
To paraphrase my favorite movie, Boomerang, not even if Jesus came with him. Bryce Drew hadn't.
I love it. So it'll be a big name.
Big enough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's big name for
2.
Someone who actually won a national title already. If not that, at least got into a Final Four. That's why I think Nate Oates will also be in the mix. He just got an extension, maybe partially because of the Final Four, but also partially because Louisville, that was the name. When Louisville's opened, when they were still searching, he was a name that came up as a possibility. So, but Kentucky, I think if they identify Nate Oates as their guy, they would gladly pay a buyout and bring him in.
CL, I would be remiss if I did not ask you, how do you see the game playing out tonight? And how do you like the matchup between the two 7-foot centers?
Yeah, well, my wife is a Purdue alum. So, so the heart is going for Purdue.
1 minute.
And I like Matt Painter, and I would like to see him win a national championship. But my head says UConn from everything I've seen. The only thing with the big man is, as I said, when NC State played Purdue, I just hope the officiating, I hope they let them play.
Yes.
I hope there aren't any kind of small fouls that they call, and they let them be as physical as they need to be, and we have a free flowing game from it.
See how we
UConn has too many options though for Purdue to win the game.
Yeah.
See how we appreciate you, man. Don't work too hard for tonight's game. Appreciate the time today.
All right, always a pleasure. Thank you guys.
CL Brown, Courier Journal columnist there in Kentucky. And we appreciate him. Boots on the ground out there giving us an update. You can follow him at CL Brown Hoops. And he is brought to you by the Showroom in Talking Stick Resort. That is our home today for the NCAA championship game. We have free cash squares, props, plus we're giving away a 75-inch big screen TV at halftime. All starts at 6 o'clock, but the showroom is open right now. You can come on down and join us. But next, did Caitlin Clark need a title to be crowned the GOAT of women's hoops? Yeah.